Okay, we're back. So my vertex is at 2, -2. So we know it is here. This thing opens down because of the minus, so we know that the vertex is a maximum. And if you want to know kind of what it looks like, I would pick, you have the vertex at 2, you put that here in the middle. And just pick a couple of points smaller than 2 to see what's going on over here. So maybe 1 and 0. And bigger than 2, so 3 and 4. Remember, this is a symmetric function, so you really only need to find these two, and then it'll repeat. So if I plug in a 0 here, that's going to give me -6. So at 0, I'm at -6. If I plug in a 1, that's going to be -1 plus 4 minus 6. That's going to give me 3 minus 6, which is -3. So at 1, I'm at -3. And then we can just copy these over. And we are done. Easy peasy. All right, let's take a look at number 10. Again, we want to find the axis of symmetry, which is going to be the line x equals, and it's going to be -b over 2a. So that's going to be -16 over 2 times 2, which is 4. So that's -16 over 4. That's -4. So the line x equals -4 is your axis of symmetry. So let's do that. And then we need to find our vertex. So the vertex is always on the axis of symmetry. So it's going to be -4 comma something. We have to go back up here and plug in -4. So -4 squared, that's 16 times 2. That's going to be 32. And then 16 times -4, that's going to be -64. And then plus 34. So we have 32 minus 64 plus 34, and that gives me 2. So at -4, 2, that is my vertex. This is positive, so we know it is opening up. That means this is a minimum. And let's just pick a few numbers. We know the vertex is at -4, 2. So let's pick -5 and -6. And remember, you're going to get the same thing on the other side because of the symmetry, right? So if I plug in a -6, let's plug in a smaller number, because let's make it easier on ourselves. Let's plug in a -2. So -2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 16 times -2, that's 32, plus 34, that should give me 10. -2 should be 10. All right, that means -6 should also be 10. Let's plug in a -3. So that's -3 squared, that's 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And so we have 18, and then 16 times -3, that's -48, and then plus 34. So we have 18 minus 48 plus 34 gives me 4. So at -3, we are at 4. And that tells me that at -5, we're also at 4. Remember, this is curvy. Do not make it pointy. This is a parabola. Sorry about that. Just make it bigger if you can't. If you can't make it right the first time. Okay? So that was numbers 9 and 10. Finally, 11 and 12. these are going to be square roots, okay? And what we know about square roots is that in order to graph them, they cannot be negative. We cannot graph on this coordinate plane, on the xy coordinate plane. We're not going to graph we can't graph anything that's imaginary, right? So that means that whatever is under x has to be 0 or greater. We can take the square root of 0, that's 0, but that's it, okay? So this one is pretty easy. Let's pick some nice square roots. So again, 0 is the smallest one we can have. 1 is a nice one, 4 is a nice one, and 9 is a nice one. So if I plug in a 0, the square root of 0 is 0. 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Plug in a 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Plug in a 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Plug in a 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So 0, negative 5. 1, negative 4. 4, negative 3. And 9 would be out here, sort of like that. And remember that these square root functions, they have a beginning and an end. And the reason it's a beginning, because again, our x cannot be negative, okay? Because we can't graph the square root of a negative. All right, and if you notice what happened here, the original square root function, which we all know and love, which is 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, and then 9, 3 out here, that was the original, or the parent. All we did was shift it 5 units down, okay? Now here, basically all we're going to do is take this parent and shift it 3 units up. But in case you don't see that, go ahead and do a little table. Again, 0, 1, 4, and 9. If you use 0, this is going to be 3. If you use 1, this is going to be 4. If you use 4, the square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. If you use 9, the square root of 9 is 3. 3 and 3 is 6. So at 0, we are at 3. At 1, we are at 4. At 4, we are at 5. And at 9, which is out here, we would be somewhere up there. Okay? And guys, believe it or not, that is it. Super simple. Yeah, just make sure you study. You'll be fine.